And the Rockwell M is drawing. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rockwell M. And coming back with the U and the G down. Because of the landing gear that you just saw here is reinforced to withstand landing and to catapult.
Later on, departing to and arriving back from Duxford. But here comes the F-35A.
We'd like to congratulate our partners in the Royal Air Force on a fantastic 100 years.
Jak ktoś nie posunął wejść,
Released from Virginia, Captain Olson is a veteran combat fighter pilot with more than 1,500 hours in fighter jet aircraft. for the maximum performance climb. The F-35 will now reposition for the mid-speed pass. This concludes today's demonstration. We hope you've enjoyed this brief display of only a fraction of the F-35's full
Display is flown by Flight Lieutenant Jim Peterson and is by the Eurofighter Typhoon SGR-4.
So this is way above its limitation. On your left side, Zibbity's preparing for a 4-point roll, a maneuver designed to show you how much control Zibbity can use. On the left, Viper in the 4-point.
active jet fighters the RAF has ever had. It first flew 75 years ago this year on the 20th of September 1943, the prototype de Havilland DH-100. The Mark I Vampire came into RAF service a couple of years later, just too late to see war service. Of course, the most distinctive thing about the Vampire is that twin boom configuration. Initially it was known as the Spider Crab before the name was changed, and that layout was chosen to allow a shorter jet pipe and minimise the loss of thrust from the aircraft's single engine, because the RAF's first jet fighter had lost a Meteor, one of which we've also got in the static part here, the fantastic ejection seat test aircraft from Martin Baker at Chalgrove, was a twin-engine machine. The power plant of the Vampire, originally the Halford H1, Frank Halford being de Havilland's main engine man before it became a de Havilland product in its own right as the Goblin. Here they come in for their first part, and a good chance to see that twin boom layout. Interesting construction, the Vampire. De Havilland, of course, had a great deal of experience of wooden aircraft, perhaps the most famous example being the Mosquito that was so effective in the war years. And the Vampire structure mixed wood and metal. The fuselage pod has a balsa wood core with layers of birch veneer inside and outside, but the wings, the tail booms and the tail are all metal. And this was an aircraft that, after World War II, achieved some outstanding feats. They weren't all to do with the RAF. One of the most famous was undertaken by a man considered by many as the greatest British naval aviator of all time, Captain Eric Winkle Brown, who, aboard HMS Ocean on the 3rd of December 1945, made the first landing and takeoff ever conducted by a jet aircraft on an aircraft carrier. As far as the RAF was concerned, there was number 247 Squadron in the Vanguard. It was stationed at RAF Odium in Hampshire, and on so-called Victory Day in 1946, it made the first jet flypast of RAF tanks over London.
Operations in the Middle East and defending the UK skies 24 hours a day, it's Typhoon. Get those cameras ready for the Typhoon roll.
Easy. Up. Nickel. And roll.
As the jet's apex at 3,000 feet, the Typhoon planform visible against the bright blue sky. On the right of Red 1 in Typhoon is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant John Bond. John is a former Tucano pilot and instructor, displaying the aircraft in 2012, and he joins the Red Arrows from the Typhoon Force.
Coming right now. Holding the bank now, please.
Lightning go, says Red 1. The smoke comes on with 4 and 5. The jet's moving forward, about to represent another aircraft you've seen already today. Arriving in Marham a couple of weeks ago to start its RAF service in the UK, the Lightning, a 5th generation stealth aircraft capable of simultaneous air-to-ground, air-to-air and electronic. As the jets approach their apex in the Lightning loop, on the right-hand wing is Red 4, Flight Lieutenant Chris Lyndon-Smith. Chris is a former Tornado GR4 pilot and Hawk T1 instructor, and he joins the team on his second tour with the Red Arrows in his second year.
Now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lightning. As Lightning moves off to our right-hand side, the smoke comes back on. Red 1 moving the formation into their next position. This one a very technically difficult formation for the pilots to fly. The aircraft forming into 6 line abreast with red 6 and 7 tucked in behind. This is Phoenix. On the left of red 1 in Phoenix is red 3, squadron leader Mike Ling. Mike is a former display pilot in the team before doing 6 years as red 10 and returned to the team as red 3 for the 2018 season. The smoke's about to come on. Get your cameras ready for the Phoenix Present. Off go calls red 1 as Phoenix moves off to our right hand side. Red 1. The motto of the Red Arrows is Excellent, which means excellence. And the team both in the air, on the ground, strive for excellence in everything that we do. As the nose lights come back towards us, the smoke's about to come on. Get ready for the diamond roll.
Easy up. Go. And roll.
As the jet apex from their roll at 3,000 feet, on the left wing we have red 5, Flight Lieutenant Dan Rose. Dan is a former Type B pilot and weapons instructor, and he joins the team for his 2nd year. Cameras ready.
Right, I'm not. Roll.
Our board calls red 9 as reds 8 and 9 put the red and blue smoke on and roll around the smokes of the rest of the formation. Red 1 about to bend the formation to the left with the smoke colour changing. This is Tornado. Off go calls red 9 as Tornado finishes and moves off to our right hand side. Well, the end of the Tornado maneuver, ladies and gentlemen, means we're approaching the end of the first half of the display. And pulling up calls red 1, red 6 and 7 staying low. The jet's about to split into a huge palm with the synchro pair staying low. The 7 jets finish their palms, but left and right for red 6 and 7, the synchro pair as they stay low with the white. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Red Arrow.
Spitfire and Hurricane aircraft involved. I'm delighted to introduce the Royal Air Force's Battle of Britain's most historic aircraft. In a few moments' time, we'll be swamped by the sound of Merlin engines, not only the most iconic aero engine ever built, but also the most instantly recognisable.
Back to the campsite. What? I went back to the campsite. Alright. See if I did the money for the burger. Saturday. Where'd the plane go?
When we were at the end of the thing, we go down to the starting.
Flown today by Flight Lieutenant Tim Dunlop with his co-pilot, Flight Lieutenant Neil Farrell. Twigs, as it's commonly known, has been on the flight for almost 10 years. Twigs is a volunteer and gives his time and weekends up to fly with the BBMS. He has previously flown the Hercules and been an instructor on the King Air. His current primary role rests at RAF Fairford, flying the RAF's newest transport aircraft, the A400M Atlas. His co-pilot, Flight Lieutenant Neil Farrell, originally flying the Wessex until 2003, when he retired from service. He became a flying instructor on the Tutor, teaching elementary flying training at RAF Woodvale. In 2008, converting the E3D Century, they've seen operational tours over Afghanistan, Libya. He now operates as a flying instructor on the Century OCU. As you'll see, the three fighters have peeled off. We have the standard trench-arm formation, coming in for a crowd ride, low pass. Everybody get your cameras ready as we see the BBMS 2018 display. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Spitfire Synchro display.
to mám jenom opřený
Jo.
So there, I've managed to land safely, is still on display at their base as something of memory. In the post-Soviet world, the original Su-27 has carried on equipping the Russian armed forces. But Sukhoi has continued to develop the design for Russia and elsewhere from the more fighters that now have thrust vectoring for even greater absolutely a heavy fighter, isn't it? And it looks it, despite the fact that it can display unexpected manoeuvrability perhaps for its size.
Yeah, this is an enormous aircraft. When you consider its max takeoff weight is 72,000 pounds, and if you compare that with the F-16 at 42,000 pounds, you can see that it is almost twice the weight, twice the mass of that aircraft. Also in terms of size as well, this has a 15-metre wingspan, when compared to the Typhoon at 10 metres, this aircraft is 50% larger. Very impressive, and what you need to remember is the aircraft was designed to go forward, so its strength is in that lateral direction. And of course, as it's sliding backwards, all of the controls are working in the opposite sense, a bit like reversing a car, if you like. But one of the things that we were very concerned about in the early days was because of the size of the aircraft, the perception of the energy and the speed that the aircraft was doing in air-to-air combat could have been something that fooled us. So we did a lot of training against a similar sized aircraft, namely the United States Air Force F-15. In 1988, and still we have never seen like from conventional, i.e. non-thrust vectoring Western aircraft. Really good performance here, Mark, on the part of the two Lyulka, or now Saturn, AL-31F turbofan engines. Yes, this is not just an aerodynamic feat. You've got to bear in mind these engines are sucking in hundreds of litres of air per second to keep the things running. Quite often, if you just have with a conventional engine a bit of a disturbed airflow, that's sufficient to put the aircraft or the engine into a surge condition. But this aircraft is deliberately going backwards and still coping with it.
When it became independent on the breakup of the Soviet Union, the Ukrainian Air Force took on 67 Su-27 and they carried on serving the same role. Fairford, where this aircraft comes from, which is in central Ukraine. There's another smaller squadron of Su-27s at Obserna in the north. They tell that this one has recently been upgraded because when Su-27s and other Ukrainian Air Force aircraft undergo a general overhaul, they receive a new camouflage pattern, this so-called pixelated scheme, which is applied in blue on the Su-27. This
Right,
is
do you know where you're going back to?
E1M.
Well, do you know where the tape is?
It's a former
See that plane that says KC-390 on the tailplane? At the far side of that, there's a green 12B1210. Can you go back? Can you start heading that way?
And there's the aircraft at the slow with the very large dorsal air brake extended in exactly the same position as that fitting on the FPV. So you can see where some of the lineage of this aircraft came, and the ideas, the inspirations. A satellite navigation system, a new instrument landing system, and crucially a new transponder which allows international operations under widely established regulations. And that's important because the Ukrainian Air Force has increasingly been aligning itself with Western air arms in recent years. The first upgraded jet was handed over in March 2012, and the work was done locally at the Zaporozhye State Air Repair Plant. The first upgraded aircraft was accepted for service in August 2014. The Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko flew in one of the upgraded two-seat flankers. Standard armament of the Ukrainian Su-27s today still as was carried in Cold War times. The medium-range R-27 and short-range R-73 air-to-air missiles, a maximum of 10 in all, plus the internal 30mm cannon. The aircraft can also practice close air support missions, though they don't have air-to-ground weapons, so presumably they'd make use of the internal cannon for that. The aircraft turning on the final approach, when we see it roll past us, we'll get a very good view of that air brake. Here we have the Airbus Defence and Space A400M. Remarkable performance of this aeroplane, always on display thanks to its manufacturer, Airbus Defence and Space 4-turboprop for Europrop International TP400D6 powered airlifter. The strategic, all the tactical environments. This, of course, is why it so appealed to the Royal Air Force, with whom it's now very much in service at Fries Norton as the Atlas C1.
Me. That's me.
First deliveries of production A400Ms took place in 2013 to the French Air Force. Since then it's entered service with the RAF, German Luftwaffe, the Royal Malaysian Air Force, Spanish Air Force and Turkish Air Force. So here goes the PC-17. By the FA-18C Hornet. International Air Tattoo, a team of judges goes around all the static displays. Hayhawk from Davis Monthan Air Force Base for the United States Air Force. But now from the Belgian Air Component, the F-16AM Fighting Falcon. Because of its dark colour scheme. First flown back in 1974, conceived initially as nothing more than a relatively simple lightweight fighter, it's turned into now, even with older A and B models, this is an A model, midlife upgrade, the NLU that they went through several years ago, has brought them up to a standard comparable with the later C and D variants. when we were flying the Phantom, which had a true multi-beam. Have had a flight control system software upgrade that enables them to fly with no angle of attack limits. obviously the seat supports you, but when you're inverted, whether it's -1 G as you saw there or -3 on some of the push-ups you'll see, it's only the straps that are actually keeping you connected to the seat. Regular taskings for the Swiss Hornet Force include the protection.
delta wing and the power of its engine. Coming from your right for the so-called English flyby with our two Mirror 2000 are now getting in position for a spiral pass, which means a continuous turn during which they will fly under more than 3 Gs in a close formation. The flight is led by Elvis and fastest. Number 2 are San and Axel. San and Axel are now sliding into column formation for Lazy 8, just in front of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, here are the couteaux d'état. Is now forming up for a simulated transformation landing. This procedure allows to speed up the rate of landings on a military airfield, facilitating air traffic control. The landing speed of a Mirage 2000 is about 300 km per hour, and it needs around 1,500 meters to land. aircraft 2000 are separating for a tactical break followed by a pursuit phase. The ground and the aircraft fly itself at 50 meters from the ground without any action from the pilots, and it works just at night or by very bad weather conditions.
Of the many clubs of enthusiasts of Frecce Tricolori, which always follow us with affection in Italy and abroad. Frecce Tricolori official aerobatic team is a squad. This was the pressurization of the smokes. Frecce Tricolori set on the runway, the first group from Pony from 1 to 5 and the second group with Pony from 6 to 10. They are performing now before takeoff checks and engine run-up. And then after the run-up, it will be takeoff thrust, setting and brake release order by the leader. This is the brake release and then go. Acceleration during this takeoff roll, the rotation would be at 115 knots. Second section airborne and stop. Minutes, show.